Hello, everybody. We're going to call this meeting to order for the Brawley City Council and successor agency to the Brawley Community Redevelopment Agency. Regular meeting for Tuesday, September 4th at 6 p.m. We can have roll call, please.
The record will reflect all members are present.
Our invocation by Pastor Mike Music of El Redentor Church, please. Pastor Mike, if you could join us on this microphone, please. It's being filmed.
Father, we come before you this evening ever so thankful for your grace and mercy. And this past week when the great shaker came to our town, that you spared our city from greater harm and our citizens. We give you all the praise and all the thanks. And Lord, we thank you for all the people that work in our city so hard to bring it back to working conditions, Lord, after all the damages that took place. We give you the praise and the honor this evening. And Lord, we thank you for our leadership in our city. We ask you to bless them with wisdom, with understanding, with the leading of your Spirit in every decision that they make. And we thank you for the freedom of coming together to pray as citizens and leaders of this city. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Councilmember Miranda, if you could lead us in the pledge.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Mike, and thank you, Councilmember Miranda. And happy belated birthday, Councilmember Miranda. I know you just had a birthday recently, so congratulations.
Thank you. I just turned 55 years young.
There you go. Congratulations.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second? There's a motion to approve and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is special recognition for a very special guest of ours here, Sheila Riley, for the Central Maine Rescue. And we have a member of the Brawley Safety Committee, Mr. Jay Kruger. If you'd like to come up, please.
Let me present this to you.
Sure, we'll do it together.
Would you like to come up, Sheila? I know you wouldn't, but please come forward.
I almost worked overtime.
Oh, no.
This is a certificate of recognition presented to Sheila Riley on behalf of the Brawley Public Safety Committee. I wish to thank you for your recent acts of selflessness and compassion in the rescue of a fellow citizen. You have brought honor on your city, your family, and yourself with these actions. The committee hopes that you will be an example to others if the occasion arises. Accept a small token of recognition for the ability to ensure the safety of others while putting your own life at risk. Dated 4th day of September 2012. For the committee, Charles J. Kruger III, Chairman, Public Safety Committee. Thank you.
Sheila, don't go anywhere yet, Sheila. Don't go anywhere yet. And before we get there, if Councilmember Kelly, he's gonna say a few words on behalf of the City Council.
Well, so I know that Sheila does not want to be up in front of everyone, but this is important, and I think that the idea behind this is promoting citizenship in our community. And what I'd like to see us going forward is to establish a medal of citizenship that has no merit on time or on activity, but when something occurs, that it's gone through the Public Safety Committee, brought forward, and that we keep track of these for the future so that their family can tell that someone in our community did something nice for someone else on this day at that time. So I'm very happy to.
Thank you.
Sheila, we have something for you on behalf of the city. Let's come down here. We'll join you. Yeah. Let's go. We're all very proud of you, Sheila. I know you're not one for attention, but we just wanted to show you our appreciation.
Thank you so much. Great.
And don't cover yourself up with
Jay, turn the black around.
Have something.
Big smile.
And we have somebody from Manuel Bettis' office coming in in just a second, so we'll stall while they get here. But congratulations to Sheila. And we have a representative here from Manuel Bettis' office.
Don't go yet.
Don't go yet.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ana Ortiz, and I'm a field representative at the Office of Assemblymember Manuel Perez. And on his behalf, I would like to present Ms. Sheila Riley with this State Assembly Certificate of Appreciation for your heroic actions on July the 30th. Congratulations.
So Sheila, now is your time to shine. What do you want to say to everybody else? Huh?
The water was cold.
Thank you very
So what
much.
is cool?
I didn't expect this at all. In fact, I regret calling my husband and telling him what was happening because dinner was going to be late. And somebody got on social media and was saying something on there to friends, of course. And so my son got onto also his social media site and send it over to ID Press, so there you go. I mean, news travels fast. I just wish and hope that anybody in that situation, if it was a family member of mine or a friend, that they would also do the same thing. And you'd be surprised when you're an orphan. Just put in and it's natural. So anyway, but thank you so much.
Big round of applause for Sheila. We also have Captain York, Mr. Justin Riley, and Mr. Art Duran. If you gentlemen would like to say something on behalf of the firefighters that were out there? Captain York, there's your mother. So, come on. You can't get him to stop talking, and then when it's time for him to say something, no. Okay. Yeah.
Just on behalf of the fire department, not only that, just the fact it's my mother. Just it was awesome to see her when it was out there. You know, there were people standing by who didn't do anything. So just the fact she jumped in just separated her from the rest. And I love you and thank you.
Oh, that's very nice. Nice. Oh, that's fantastic. It's so nice to see that. It brought some tears to my eyes there, but congratulations again. We're going to move on the agenda. There's an item that's not under special recognition, but there is. I would like to show an item that we received from Mr. Ron Gomez of the American Cancer Society, the director of the Relay for Life. And it's an award that's presented to the city for hosting at the Catacall Arena. And it's a nice award, and I just wanted to show it off a little bit and let council see it. So it's a nice award that we received. So congratulations to the city for participating, everyone. That was nice right now. That was really nice. Sheila and her family. Next item on the agenda is public appearances comments, not to exceed 4 minutes. This is the time for the public to address the council on any item not appearing on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city council. The mayor will recognize you, and when you come to the microphone, please state your name for the record. You are not allowed to make personal attacks on individuals or make comments which are slanderous or which may invade an individual's personal privacy. Please direct your questions and comments to the city council. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address the council at this time?
My name is John Welcome. I'm a homeowner on J Street. I thought I made enough copies for everybody, but I guess I didn't. There's a house over on J Street that we're concerned about. We found out that the house has been sold, and the pictures show that this house is a valuable asset to the history of Brawley. And I understand that you have zones for a reason, and I understand that this is an action, but I wanted to let the council know that this house is in danger of being demolished and a duplex at the very least being erected. To me, that's a shame, not only because I love my neighborhood, but I like Brawley, and I think that history should be kept and maintained. This house is a valuable asset. It's still in good shape. It's not dilapidated. Sure, I'm concerned about my property values, as many of my neighbors here. I mean, everybody's lost a lot of money with the housing problems. I'm more concerned about saving this house, although I'm concerned about my property values too. It's an uphill battle having this house designated as a historical site. There's no money to do that, and I understand that we're fighting an uphill battle to get this changed from R2 to back to an R1, which it should be anyway, in my opinion. There's plenty of other places that need demolishing in Brawley where they could use an apartment complex or a duplex or a triplex. And we're going to try to get the city council in action to change the zoning. I know that we're fighting an uphill battle. I just wanted to let the council know that this is a concern of not only myself but my neighbors who have been there, some of them for 40 or 50 years. This house, I showed evidence. This house was one of the first houses built in 1908. It shows pictures of a lady in a horse and buggy, and it's a valuable piece of history. And I understand that the contractor wants to make a bunch of money. He wants to tear it down. He doesn't care about Brawley. He doesn't care about history. And I care about the history, and I care about the property values. And I think that if we can get this changed back to an R1 and have a single family dwelling, if we can't save the house, at least we can save our neighborhood and the way it looks. That's all I have to say.
Mr. Welcome, we appreciate the comments.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any comments from council? Any questions? None at this time.
What is the zoning?
It's currently zoned R2. Mr. Welcome did bring this subject to the attention of staff. We've done a fair amount of research. According to the assessor's role, the ownership hasn't changed, although Mr. Welcome does have information that there has been some type of real estate transaction. The building department at this point has not received any information suggesting that a construction project is pending.
What is the address? Do we know the address?
Yeah, 390? No.
352.
352. Who owns it? Do you own it, Mr. Walker?
I don't. It's been empty. It's been empty for at least 2 years that I can remember, maybe more. We knew the people that lived there. They bought it. They got upside down when the housing market fell. They walked away from it, gave it back to the bank for I don't know how many months and months and months. The bank owned it. Nobody's been there. Myself and my neighbor on the other side of the house kind of maintain it so it doesn't look dilapidated. But as far as we know, the bank owned it, and we found out from somebody who works for the construction company that they indeed did buy it, and that they indeed do plan on knocking the house down and putting, well, they can't put a triplex, but they're going to put a duplex in. As my understanding with the area that they have to work with, it'll be two-story, and a two-story duplex in an old neighborhood like our neighborhood would be a travesty, in my opinion. But as far as I know, the bank still owns it.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Welcome. We appreciate the comment.
Thank you, sir.
Next item on the agenda is departmental reports. We'll start with item A, library summer reading statistics, by our library director, Marge O'Mello.
Thank you. By the way, 352J was where Lee and Mary Hermsmeyer lived for 30 or 40 years. So if you know them, They're the ones who had the house prior to the sale.
Correct.
Okay.
I took care of Mr. Hermsmeyer when he died. So
And Mrs. Hermsmeyer volunteered at the library for 20 years.
So did all the teachers, retired teachers?
Yes.
Our library director and city historian. There we go.
Some days.
As a matter of fact, excuse me, I have a picture of Mr. Hermsmeyer when he was instrumental in building the kiosk.
She was a substitute teacher at the high school for many, many years.
He did a lot with Kiwanis, and Mrs. Hermsmeyer was a school nurse. Anyway.
Our library summer reading statistics.
Yes, we are thrilled to let you know we have 3 big things going on. Our summer reading program was incredible. We had 6,235 and a half hours of time spent reading by 184 children who read or were read to. So we had over 300 sign up, but 184 turned in their paperwork to get their goodies. We know there were a lot more hours, but we're very proud of that. So we're excited. Other good news is, if you remember the huge check we had, the Lambs is currently being painted, and the original company that made the vehicle still had the artwork, so they're going to be able to do the decal exactly as it was, including the scorpion that has the little tail come around holding the book in front of his face. So we're happy about that. There's a graphic for you.
Sure. I saw it right now.
Yeah?
Yep.
There he is. And then the other really fun thing that's going on at the library is that we are going to be receiving some funds for adult literacy that we had no idea we were going to get. A year ago, I let you all know that it had been taken out of the budget. Well, the state was going to lose millions and millions without keeping a maintenance of effort for other funds. So they gave $3.4 million back to the state library for programs. And of that, Brawley will get $25,465. And we can spend $20,372 on adult literacy and $5,093 on the Lambs Project. And we'll be buying books to give away for the kids with that.
Fantastic.
So that's the fun summer we've had and the good news. And we were able to open on time both libraries after the earthquakes. Monday night at the branch and Tuesday morning at the main library. And we want to thank all the other departments that helped us out by making sure we were safe and stuff.
Fantastic.
So,
thank you,
you.
Marjo.
Thank
Any
you, Marjo.
questions, comments from council? Thank you, Marjo. The next item on the agenda is departmental report. Item B, Parks and Recreation Summer Programs and Participants. Mr. Richard Rubio, our Interim Parks and Recreation Director.
Good evening, Council, Mayor Nava, Council members. Well, I'm happy to report we had a great summer at Parks and Rec. You could have picked out any evening this summer, and any day, any evening, and we had over 1,000 people in our facilities, either at the gym, at the softball fields, the baseball fields. Any evening, there were at least 1,000 people out there, participants and spectators. So it was great.
Oh, yeah.
The numbers were pretty consistent with previous summers. We did have an increase in our Zumba classes. We added an Aqua Zumba program. It was really popular. The Zumba fans were very appreciative that we added that to the Zumba curriculum. Really good news over at the Senior Center. We have our new interim senior coordinator, Tanya Fernandez, has really made a great transformation there. Along with the decorations, we've added golden Zumba for the seniors there, and they're really enjoying it. I mean, the atmosphere, it's like a party atmosphere there on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So,
Miguel, golden Zumba?
He just turned 55.
That's right. So
yeah, you qualify, Miguel.
He's always wearing the shirt.
Gets it terrible.
Thank you.
Yeah, so, and then we're switching gears from summer to fall. Baseball, softball's given away to Pop Warner football, and soccer. Soccer sign-ups start tomorrow, and we're going to be inundated with sign-ups beginning tomorrow. So we have a big soccer opening ceremonies in the works, opening ceremony for our soccer program, and for dedicating our new lights over at Del Rio soccer field. Brand new lights there, and we'll be letting everybody know when that's going to occur. And cattle call preparations have started. So we've already had a couple meetings with the cattle call committee, and looking forward to that. And in closing, it was a great summer. Thanks to everybody's hard work.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any questions, comments from council?
I have a comment. So I noticed that the Zumba with Laura is every day of the week, morning and afternoon, but except Thursday. Is there?
No. Zumba with Laura, that's at different times of the day.
Yeah, she's got morning, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah.
So she's very popular.
She's very popular.
And a PM class Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
If you were to see Laura, you know why she's popular.
I might have to
there we go.
She's a great dancer. Great athlete.
Yeah. All right.
You shouldn't have said that. Miguel will be there.
Just a comment.
Hey.
As I had said before, I visited the Lions Center during the day several different times, and I can pretty much attest to the fact that the kids were all involved in everything, and it was very organized. Maybe organized chaos, but it was very organized. And they were having a great time, and my grandson enjoyed himself immensely, and I just wanted to say thank you for all the help of the employees and all the people that were involved in that summer activity over there. And I saw the swimming pool, being used all the time, and so that was a great thing also. Okay.
Thank you. Any other comments? We'll move on to a departmental report from Mr. Francisco Soto, our building official, for building permits July 2012.
Actually, contained within the backup of our agenda is our regular report that identifies the various construction activity within city limits. Our building official is available to answer any specific questions about line items, but otherwise this is a regular item that we are presenting to you monthly.
Mr. Soto, anything to add to that?
No, Mr. Mayor, we were also having a very great summer until August 26th.
Right. I think we all were at that point, right? So.
No, but I think we're doing okay, and if you have any questions on the record of building permits, I'll try to answer the questions for you.
Are there any questions from council? No. Mr. Soto, we appreciate your help. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Soto.
Anything else you'd like to add now? No? Next item on the agenda, departmental reports. It's introduction of wastewater treatment plant Assistant Chief Operator Gustavo Rodriguez. Review of new EOC approach by Yasmin Arellano, Public Works Director, City Engineer.
Honorable Mayor, Council Members, Yasmin Arellano, Public Works Director. Good evening. I'm delighted to introduce Mr. Gustavo Rodriguez. He's our Assistant Chief Operator at the wastewater plant.
Come on up. Come on up. Come on up. You can't be shy.
We searched long and hard for Mr. Rodriguez, and we're so happy to have him here.
People, so distinguished group of people, but here I am to meet you in person and say thank you. I am very happy to be a part of a very dedicated group, which what I'm working for. And I just want to say thank you, and I'm excited to be working for the city of Brawley.
Mr. Rodriguez, it's a pleasure to meet you, and we're excited to work with you as well. Congratulations on your new position.
Thank you. If I may,
Oh, sure. It's nice to meet you. Thank you for coming here. Thank you. It's nice to meet you. Pleasure.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Again, congratulations, Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you.
Next item is a review of new EOC approach.
Yes, I would also like to provide an update of the Emergency Operations Center. With the staff, with the approval of our city manager, went out to advertise for a second time for competitive bids on August the 17th. We have a bid opening of September the 17th with a very potential award on September the 18th. We have 120 days of construction, so hopefully we'll get a successful bidder this time.
Any questions from council? We hope there is a successful bid. Well, thank you very much for the information.
Thank you.
Thank you, Desmond.
Next item on the agenda is departmental reports. Item E, monthly staffing report from Shirley Bonillas, our Personnel and Risk Management Administrator.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, council members. We have great news. We filled the wastewater treatment plant operator.
There we go.
Position. Yeah. That was a year in the making. We did have sergeant interviews this morning, and we have dispatcher interviews tomorrow, and firefighter interviews on Friday. Very busy week for interviews. And we are gearing up for cattle call and working with Parks and Rec on some maybe additional. We don't know yet if the need is there or not.
Temporary?
Pardon me?
Temporary hires?
Yes, very temporary hires, just for the cattle call window, which is usually late September to end of November to help with the cleanup after cattle call. Any questions?
Questions from council? Any comments? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bonillas. We appreciate the information. We're going to move on the agenda. Next item on the agenda is item 4, consent agenda. Items are approved by one motion. Council members or members of the public may request consent items be considered separately at a time determined by the mayor. Is there a motion to approve the consent?
So move.
I second.
There's a motion to approve, and there's a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is regular business. Item A, update on status of impacts associated with August 2012 swarm of earthquakes, presented by our city manager, Rosanna Bayonmore.
And while all of you have stayed very active in the last week's events, I thought it might be helpful to do a quick recap of city-related events. I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. There we go. As you know, staff has been very busy since August 26th, working on a number of issues that arose in connection with the swarm. What I'm attempting to do in tonight's presentation is quickly recap in an overview what consequences the city was facing with regard to the seismic activity. So we had quite a few water breaks, including the last bullet, which is D Street and North 13th Street, which occurred today. Our Public Works crew have been working feverishly to address these repairs at North Cesar Chavez Avenue and Main Street, North 8th and River Drive, North 1st Street, Rio Vista NG, North Imperial Avenue and A, and D and 13th. And as you can see, most of our pipeline breaks occurred with the more aged portion of our infrastructure, which is our cast iron pipeline. And approximately 26% of the city's infrastructure is actually today cast iron pipeline. We are estimating a total of $30,000 in expenses associated with the water breaks. A good portion of the work that's been performed by Public Works staff has occurred during normal work hours, and we've done our very best to limit the overtime associated with repairs. All of you have been very quickly briefed on issues pertaining to the Mansfield pipeline. This is in the vicinity of Willard and Julia Drive. It's the main source of water to our water treatment plant. There was a leak that was identified post-earthquake, and as a result of that need for repair, we are currently looking at a bypass to continue serving our water plant with water later this week. So today, as recently as this evening, notices were distributed to area residents regarding a street closure at Julia and Willard. as well as a notice will be distributed later today and early tomorrow regarding water conservation measures that are recommended between now and Friday so that the repair work can actually conclude. We have done proactive contact with our largest users, which are National Beef and Pioneers Memorial Healthcare District. It is estimated that the cost that the city will incur is approximately $35,000 for the bypass work. The IID will be absorbing the cost of the repair itself, but the bypass is the city's responsibility.
I have a question there.
Yes.
With respect to the pipes that are being run, I know it's going to interfere with the Florentine development entrance, and it's going to, I think, interfere with a couple residences that are there. Have they been notified?
I'm going to have our city engineer actually step up. There are measures. I'll need you at this microphone. There are measures that will be necessary to ensure continued access. And earlier today, I had an opportunity to review those measures with our Public Works Director, and I'll have her do a quick recap.
Yes, the areas that are going to be affected starting tonight. It's the entrance to the Florentine development as well as the two homes at the intersection that would be on the southeast intersection corner of Julia and Willard. The two homes will have access to one driveway, and the Florentine development will have access also. We're not going to provide access at the intersection of Julia and Willard at this point.
Right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And that's happened before when we've had issues with the when we had to pump water before when we had a break.
Correct.
Okay.
Jasmine, is this leak in the same spot that it was previously?
In the general area, not on the same spot, but it's in the general area. From what I understand from Mr. Pacheco with Imperial Irrigation District, today they're going to try to evaluate to see if they can fix it from the interior. Mm-hmm. And if it's not possible, then they're going to do an open trench and excavate and fix it.
So we're going to do the bypass with the pumps.
We're doing the bypass just to provide water to our reservoirs, right?
So it shouldn't have a great impact on the delivery of water to the residents.
We're having less of delivery. Right now, our reservoirs are about 4 feet below the normal level, but we should be able to stand by till the end of Friday.
The normal level would provide how many days of usage in the city?
Right now in the summer, 2 to 3 days.
Okay. So we're hoping everything goes as planned. If construction begins Thursday and ends on Friday as planned, we should be fine.
Correct.
Any other questions?
It's not going to tear up the street?
I beg your pardon?
It's not going to destroy the street, Willard Street?
We don't know the extent of the break at this point. So they were going to drain the pipe tomorrow. They're going to drain the pipe tomorrow and inspect. They haven't done exploratory work yet.
So it will be IID equipment and operators? Or?
Correct.
So we'll see if that timeline of Thursday and Friday is accurate by the end of tomorrow, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So as a preventative measure, we are communicating the need to conserve water. We're not restricting the activity of our largest users, but we are asking for cooperation from both residents and commercial users. There will be a separate item following this one to authorize the $35,000 estimated expense from Rain for Rent as a second as an item, an action item for your consideration tonight. Yes, sir.
How are we communicating that message to our residents?
We'll be doing the notices through our conventional media, and we certainly, if we can utilize the reverse 911 as we have in recent events, distribute that in a citywide message.
So Julia is going to be blocked off to Willard?
Correct, and notices were delivered this afternoon to those affected residents.
That's good. What about through traffic that makes use of Julia?
What they'll see is the restricted access. Yeah. Signage actually was staged early this morning, and it is in place already.
Off of 86 our nearest 86, right? So they don't run through?
Yes, was 86, I don't think actually 86, there's signage at 86. I think it's further to the west.
I think that was your question, though.
Yeah,
Right.
I'd like to see them be able to notify so that
you don't
not
make that turn.
down
Mhm.
Turn on Julia. If they can get a heads up before they make that turn, then they're not turning around in the neighborhood.
Right.
We'll work within our right-of-way. If we wish to place something in Caltrans right-of-way, as you know, it becomes a very complicated set of steps that require an encroachment permit.
I'm not telling you to do anything.
But we'll do our best to deter
Yeah.
folks from Highway 86 from turning onto that roadway. It's a less than ideal set of circumstances, but unfortunate fallout from.
And this is due to the earthquake.
Yes.
So we'll be able to make application for this.
This is part of our estimated figures and IID's estimated figures for impacts.
We're going to try to recover all of our costs through FEMA, right? Some kind of recovery.
Not FEMA, because it doesn't appear that we're going to meet the threshold. We do have CalEMA and SBA in the Valley later this week, and they'll be reviewing the various locations that are visibly impacted. And since within City of Brawley, we have the Robert Noriega Mobile Home Park, as well as many locations of our water line breaks where the streets remain coned off and in some places with restricted access. They'll be spending a lot of time in City of Brawley.
Ms. Moore, what do you hear about the governor's likelihood of signing a declaration for the county?
Not a lot at this point. Our threshold that we're aiming for is 25 properties or 25 homes or businesses affected, and we are right at that cutoff point with regard to the residences within the mobile home park as well as businesses that had damage done to their property.
I say, on the other side of that, he has also been reluctant to release the Emergency Services Act funding for some disasters that have occurred in California since he took office. So it may not materialize.
We're doing everything we can to prepare for the worst case, in that any additional costs incurred, I think you'll find that staff has been as frugal as possible with the expenditures that we have experienced. I do expect come Thursday to have additional information for the council, and would be happy to distribute that in a memo format once Chief Rahotis will be accompanying the CalEMA SBA folks, and will also get support from our interim fire chief in that tour. He believes he'll have some quality information to share at the conclusion of their visit. So we have additional damage at our water and wastewater treatment plant. For the most part, these are items contained within our structures, but you'll see a quick recap of the water treatment plant areas affected, as well as some more cosmetic-related repairs at the wastewater treatment plant. The fire department, I wanted to do a quick recap of how fire has dealt with some of the personnel pressures in the last week. Our chief has looked to use call-paid firefighters. We use them as manpower to get the word out about the economic injury data that the city needs to help make the case for the impact of the earthquake. And we also continue to provide escorts to affected residents in the mobile home park, and we do expect to have continuing requests come forward. At this point, we have assisted approximately half of the residents to retrieve personal items that are necessary for them to avail themselves of the various services that are out there. And you'll see the modest cost of $1,300 incurred. And then PD, I thought it would be helpful to give you a quick recap of a 2-day period where our dispatch received the bulk of phone calls. We had approximately 750 calls come in. A little more than 300 were actually responses that went out and addressed the calls. 43 were medical related, and 4 were persons who were transported. And while there has been some fear about vandalism or stealing in the vicinity of Robert Noriega Mobile Home Park, every event that the PD has responded to has resulted in confirming the presence of a resident who was trying their best to get into a red-tagged facility to retrieve items in the absence of an escort. Okay, building department. This, similar to fire, is a set of continuing requests. As of Friday, building had done 30 inspections. 18 of the 30 had damage. 12 were simply cosmetic. 3 buildings have been posted with red tags. These include a pharmacy on Main Street, the ACC, and a apartment building on C Street. So those are what is there and what occurred at the local assistance center. I'm sorry, I don't recall the address offhand for C Street.
124 and a half. It was a garage with an apartment over on the second story.
And the structure is leaning.
The ACC is the ground?
It is the property that fronts Cesar Chavez and C
Street. Yeah.
Wasn't that building condemned already about 10, 15 years ago?
It was red tagged a year ago and unfortunately has yet to be removed. It now poses an even more significant hazard because the lean is towards our sidewalk. So we have put caution tape out and done our best to encourage ACC leadership to look at ways to demolish that.
And it doesn't require a permit to demolish, is that correct?
There is a demo permit required. There's a $500 deposit that the recycled materials are an offset to. So typically for structures of 1,000 square feet or more, the recycled material is a complete offset to the deposit on hand to get the permit.
Is that required even if it's a limited square footage building? Is that?
If it's less than 1,000 square feet, it is not required. And I don't believe at this point we've confirmed the amount of square feet.
No, at this point, but
it's less than 1,000. I would just say
so
that they
no
do
deposit.
it. Yeah.
How old is the building? Asbestos and that kind of stuff comes in.
I would say that it's circa 1930s, 1940s. There was a URM building, originally called the URM building. We did code enforcement on it about 18 months ago, maybe 2 years ago, and determined that the building was in bad shape, could not be occupied, and needed to be torn down. Between then and now, it sustained no damage.
And as a result of contact through the local assistance center, we have many additional requests from residents. We're doing these courtesy inspections. Is there a clear and present danger or not? And advising for those who are facing a significant set of circumstances, we're requiring them to engage a structural engineer to further assess the situation. So as of this morning, there were approximately 8 courtesy inspections that were lined up to occur today or tomorrow. Okay, so as all of you know, we hosted the local assistance center at the Teen Center Friday and Saturday. We had many participating agencies. We had folks walk in that comprised more than 100 individuals. The main requests were wanting to get items out of their red tagged units, fear of safety, and a desire for any services the city might extend to confirm the safety of structures. Food and motel vouchers were distributed to eligible families, which was nearly everybody who walked through the door, and there continues to be a great deal of interest in securing assistance for repair and rehabilitation. And thankfully, the county was able to get the state support to use some of their funds for repair and rehab within the city of Brawley city limits. That dollar amount is limited to $1.2 million, and given the number of structures that are red tagged, this may not be enough to complete the work. City of Brawley is in the process of exploring how a $500,000 grant that became effective today may have a similar set of guidelines adopted on an emergency basis to free up for use. And in anticipation of that possibility, we did have a waiver that we developed with County of Imperial staff, so that when folks signed up for the county's rehab as a potential rehab candidate, there can be information sharing of the applications between the City of Brawley and the county. Okay, so next steps, I've already mentioned the Small Business Administration, Kalima, will be here later this week. We'll continue to refine the costs incurred, and we're providing regular updates to the Office of Emergency Services. We continue to collect data on what types of economic injuries have been sustained by the local business community. And I would be remiss to not state that the library did sustain some damage. It is not structural in nature. It is cosmetic. And Pat Williams Park remains unaddressed at this point. We did have a water line break, but because of how busy our public works staff was with our backhoes, we didn't have a backhoe available to go dig and further investigate what the problem is. So as it stands, we've got limited watering occurring this week at our parks facilities as a result of the water conservation measures, but we will be scheduling into the queue addressing what's happening at Pat Williams Park. And with that, if there are any questions, I'd be happy to take them. It was just intended to be an update to all of you on the status of earthquake impacts.
Are there any questions, comments from council?
Just want to commend staff for the work that you guys did to keep our city safe. Thank you, guys.
Yes, I was at the EOC for quite a few hours, and I did see the staff busily working on everything, and I commend them for all their efforts, everyone that was there. And I also appreciate you keeping us informed as much as possible through emails and telephone calls, et cetera, as to what was going on and what the status was. I would like us to, in the future, maybe investigate a look at mobile homes and how we have those in the cities. I think it was a major issue on the previous earthquake. I think it's a major issue for us here in Brawley on this earthquake. And I know there are some remedies. I think they're probably expensive, but I do know there are some things that you can do to make them more stable. I know in the hurricane areas they use different types of strapping that's buried into the ground, and it straps the trailer down, and so they don't move during heavy winds. But also there are some earthquake measures that can be taken, I think, for better foundations. But I don't know how that mixes in with all this, but I think we need to look into that as a city, especially on any new trailer homes going in or anything of that nature, because I think that seems to be a major issue at all of our earthquakes all around the valley.
In this case, I think it's the county that has oversight of the mobile home.
I understand that, but I think there's something that maybe we can encourage the county to look into that. Maybe we can look at what's happening with new mobile homes. I noticed, I was amazed at how the earthquake kind of went, and it seemed like it cut almost like a storm. It just came through a certain area and affected certain areas more than other areas. And I think because of the nature of closest to the epicenter, but I don't know that for a fact. I was surprised to talk to people afterwards, and there's a lot of people I think that had damage, but they just simply don't report it. And so, like, I've talked to people that had carports or patio covers that went down, but they pretty much just fixed them. I also went to the two of the schools, Barberworth and I believe Oakley, and they both have damage. I mean, they had to shore up some of the walkway areas with 4x4s and some other things that they did, I think, when the state school people came out. So it's just interesting to see what all went on, but I do know some people had damage and they just simply don't report it. They're not income eligible. They probably don't feel they're going to get any assistance. And so, but there's a lot of that, I think, out there that I've heard and seen.
I think one of the great learnings out of all of this is that when there's a lot of cooperation between the jurisdictions and the various folks with oversight, a lot more can be accomplished. And the county building department worked really closely with our city building department to share the resources. Even though it's not our jurisdiction, they didn't object to us doing these courtesy inspections within mobile home parks.
And I was at the EOC when they came in, and they were very responsive. They did come in very quickly, I think, and they did a lot of work with us there. And other county people, I think, also also came in, and so we had real good cooperation from the county, and I do commend them for that. And also other jurisdictions sent some people, I think, from Riverside, and there were some other things that went on, and so I was impressed, and I think there's always room for improvement, but I was very impressed by what we did, and I think we can look at some things, but I thought we did some really great things. We also had a lot of media approaching us, and it takes up a lot of time in dealing with them. I noticed I had to deal with them, you had to deal with them. I know some of and the mayor had to deal with them, and some of the other council members.
Both of our chiefs were also regular interviewees.
And Tony Rahotis from the county, and everybody's having to deal with the media. And sometimes I think that it takes you away from what you need to be doing a little bit, and takes up quite a few hours. So, the media is important, but I also think that it's secondary to trying to deliver services to residents.
Thank you. Any other comments from council? We're going to move on. I'm sorry.
So I wanted to acknowledge the staff and the role they played. It was really good. I've been in this kind of role for a while, and every time I would call another jurisdiction, which I won't name, they were always, like running with their heads cut off or acting like they were now Napoleon and moving troops across Russia. But when I call Brawley, it's like, there was a little bit of a movement, and I think maybe something fell off the top shelf, but I'll pick it up in a minute. It's always kind of roll with the punches and just carry on. Not to say that no one didn't take it seriously, and that they didn't do their job exemplary, just meaning that the attitude in Brawley, I've noticed this. It's, hey man, we'll just make it happen, and it's not about stepping on someone else or having any turf fights or so. Once again, you've proved that to be the fact, and I appreciate all your work. Thank you.
And I would echo those comments, and I've mentioned it to our city manager and to our fire chief and to our police chief, in that I really got to see staff work really well with county staff, with the different agencies from the Red Cross and everyone else, and really there wasn't the egos, because that can happen, and it happens, and it doesn't matter if it's an emergency. Sometimes it's like, well, this is my territory, this is my turf, I'm running the show, but I didn't see that. Whether or not that happened, I'm not sure, but based on the results, I don't believe it did. And so the residents at the mobile home park were very happy with the results and the attention they've received in the local assistance center. And I'll tell you, I met with them on Wednesday of last week, and I met with them again on Sunday after they've received some benefit. Very, very grateful, extremely grateful. And there was other agencies there, some nonprofit agencies that usually are on the budding end of some of these items, some of these emergencies, sometimes because cities and county government's not responsive. But really they said nothing but positive things about how city staff responded, about how the county responded, American Red Cross, and other agencies that participated. So I'm really proud to see that under times of stress and emergency that city staff can work really well with the other agencies and make things happen. So I would echo those comments that Councilmember Kelly shared with you.
We were grateful for the 3-day weekends, so we had a chance to maybe recoup on some lost time for rest. But the staff did a remarkable job, and I'm sure they appreciate the accolades.
Next item on the agenda is regular business. Authorize emergency expenses associated with the August 2012 swarm of earthquakes.
And so this subsequent item was left up at the dais for each of you. It is a rain for rent estimate for the Mansfield bypass work. It is just under $34,000. The staff is asking that this item be considered on an emergency basis. It is necessary for the work to be completed on this critical piece of infrastructure.
I make a motion to approve the emergency expenses associated with August 2012 swarm of earthquakes.
I second it.
There's a motion to approve. There's a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is review and approve amendment number 1 to professional services contract with Lee & Rowe, Inc. in the amount of $91,510 for additional work associated with the development of industrial waste pretreatment program.
Honorable Mayor, Council Members, Yasmin Arellano, Public Works Director. The amount listed on the subject of this item C is the original contract amount. The amendment amount is $52,370, and is listed correctly on page 119 of the amendment documentation. The original scope of work, $91,510, and it's for the development and implementation of an industrial pretreatment program. It includes a review of all existing documents and recommendations for the program structure and background information, the review of legal authority, the development of local limits, identification of non-domestic users, permit and fact sheets, the compliance monitoring enforcement program resources, public participation, and local limit study report. The amendment in the amount of $52,370, it's for to include laboratory analysis, providing samplers, labor for the sample collection, transportation of samples to the laboratory, and certified laboratory analysis, all in accordance with the sampling plan approved by the California Regional Water Quality Control Board. And I have Mr. Bachtel here available to answer any questions from Lee & Rowe.
If I may offer a couple of additional comments. So the reason we are pursuing this program is a condition of the funding that we receive for the wastewater treatment plant modernization. This specific program we're hoping to bring back to you in total around the end of the year, and it is a subject of great interest to National Beef in particular because they are the primary industrial user that will be affected by any changes to our pretreatment ordinance. Mr. Bechtel is the brain behind our modernization project and the design of that facility. And he's here to answer any questions should you have them.
I'm in favor of approving this, and Dave, it's really a pleasure to see you here this evening. And I want to thank you for all the work that you guys have done out at our wastewater treatment plant. I've had the opportunity to work with Dave and meet in Sacramento at several meetings, and you guys' loyalty to us is really appreciated. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Bachtel, would you like to come up and make any additional comments to the council before we award this?
I think this contract amendment was a way to streamline the process of developing local limits, which involves sampling all the various contributors to the wastewater system and determining their impacts on the wastewater treatment plant. So then we can allocate certain discharge quantities to the various users. And given the issues that we've been having recently with the National Beef Plant, the timing of getting this process completed, even in addition to the fact that it's required by the state, was the fact that we were able to proceed the way we did with a very experienced company doing all the sampling and doing it in a very coordinated manner is going to yield great benefits to the city. And so I don't know what else I can say. If there's any questions,
makes sense.
Glad to ask.
Any questions from council? I do have a question with respect to it's a scope of services shall not exceed $52,370. That's the fiscal impact, and where is that coming from? From the
wastewater treatment enterprise fund, and as stated by Yasmin, it was incorrectly defined as $91,510 on the agenda.
Right. The pleasure of council. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion we approve.
Second.
Thank you.
There's a motion to approve. There's a second. Second by Council Member Mayor Pro Tem Couchman.
The first was by
The motion to approve was by Council Member Campbell. So there's a motion to approve. There's a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jasmine.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is council member reports. We'll begin with council member Miranda.
It was a long month, August. We were in the dark. But towards the end, got a little bit more excited. Of course, we all felt the earthquake on Sunday. My daughter and I were in church when it actually happened. You know, it was funny because the priest at St. Margaret Mary Church said, you know, if it hits here, please don't run. And if you happen to want to leave the church, walk peacefully outside. And exactly 12:31 p.m., boom, half of the persons just ran outside. But anyway, it was funny. I've always made a commitment that, you know, and issues like, you know, disasters or catastrophes, Brawley always come together as a community. My daughter and I decided to go, the people that we know that are elderly, our neighbors, and throughout the city, asking, since my daughter's becoming a nurse, I say, well, let's go, you know, maybe somebody needs help that can't go to the hospital. And then we find out that the hospital was transferring all their patients to other facilities. I came to an apartment and I almost got attacked because they thought I was breaking in. I said, oh, I know this lady that's here. Anyway, we did that, my daughter and myself, and we felt very proud of it. And of course, a lot of people calling me that there was rumors that the city was going to be without water. I had to call Jasmine and Rosanna. Is it true? You know, we're getting a lot of calls. Anyway, I ended up closing the month with my birthday on Thursday, August the 30th. Had a good time. My kids, my family, we went out and had a good dinner, and I just hope God that, you know, the big one doesn't hit, it doesn't shake no more, nowhere else. Not even here, but throughout the world. That's all I have to report.
Thank you, Councilmember Miranda. Councilmember Kelly.
So I would like to thank God and everyone that responded. There were no fatalities. The injuries were insignificant, and we're able to carry on with some minor cleanup in this town and Westmoreland, Calipatria. We started a thing a few years ago called Community Emergency Response Team Training, and it started here in Brawley at Pioneers. It was the first class. 22 people went through it, and of those 22 people, I know 5 of them that live here in Brawley went and did what they were trained to do. They took care of their family, they checked on their neighborhood, and then they went out to see if they could help anybody else. I'd like to see that start. And I know that there's a program that the county helps support, but the first class was in Brawley. It needs to come back. It needs to be more active, and we need to support it with financing so that all of our citizens are not dependent on city services, that we can be more reliant upon ourselves to be able to make sure that ourselves, our loved ones, our home are secure, and then once we feel that security, we're able to go out and check on our neighbors and help someone else, similar to Sheila Riley, you know, being able to be in a position to be able to help. And so promote that kind of volunteerism that we should expect, we should be able to do. So I would strongly encourage us, and let's take a look at it. I know the program, and I know Chuck knows about it. Let's start doing it. And another thing is on that citizenship medal. I'd like to see that come back to us. You know, there's probably already being used in another jurisdiction. Let's have it, adopt it, and get it going. And every time somebody does something, well, let's reinforce it and keep it going, so that not the acknowledgement, but that it's bringing the attention to it, and then other people can see that it's not it's not a rare or once in a blue moon that somebody does something right. It happens more often than you think. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Councilmember Kelly. Councilmember Campbell.
It's been quiet other than the short special meeting we had, and I did kind of miss you guys. We went dark the month of August.
Kind of.
Yeah. Been real busy with the kids though in Pop Warner and everything, but other than I think we talked about the teachers' luncheon. That was a nice function, and then I'm scheduled to attend the SCAG meeting. It's going to be held in San Diego on Thursday, I guess in conjunction with the League of Cities meeting. They're going to do a video conference, I think, so we won't have to go to L.A., but we'll be in San Diego on Thursday. So getting back in the swing of things, and again, I want to thank staff for all their hard work and dedication, and I ask that God continue to bless you guys and your families. Thank you for your dedication to our city.
Thank you, Councilmember Campbell. Mayor Pro Tem Couchman?
Well, I think we mentioned some of the things that we've done in the last couple of weeks. The Emergency Operations Center, I was there. The meeting at PMH when we talked to the guy from USGS in regards to the earthquakes, and everything seemed to happen the way he kind of said it was probably going to happen based upon our history here with the earthquakes. I think we're blessed in some ways, even though we have earthquakes, that they've been occurring on Sundays, because I think if they occurred during a work day in the middle of the work cycle when the children are at school and everything else, I think we'd have a lot more issues to deal with in regards to panic on the part of some of the residents, and also just maybe a lot more injuries than what we may see on a Sunday. So I think we're blessed in that way that we haven't had these things during a major time of work and school and everything else that occurs. I did tour the Robert Noriega trailer park, looked at all the red-tagged trailers, and it was pretty bad over there. And I also went down Main Street right after the earthquake to look at some of the things that had happened there on our Main Street here, and around watching the city repair all the leaks. And I think the people from Public Works should be commended for that. I will be attending the League of Cities meeting in San Diego tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. And I'll be representing Brawley at that, and I'll bring back some information, I'm sure, from that meeting for the city of Brawley and for the people, my fellow members on the council. Other than that, I think that's all I have to report right now.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Couchman. And I just want to wrap up council member comments by saying, number one, I think I speak for everyone here on council that we're very, very proud of our city staff. Very proud of the work that they did from our city manager. She did a tremendous amount of work, and our fire chief, our police chief, and all our department heads. They did shine in times of adversity, so I'm very proud to see that we're well prepared here in the city. They worked very well with county staff. But I'd also like to express my gratitude for the residents of the city. And then they work together to help each other out. I think that's very important. I know a lot of residents helped one another out. There was, I think it was mentioned here, some patios and awnings and things that were destroyed, and those things weren't reported. I heard about them, kind of from other people. And, what ended up happening is neighbors just gathered around and picked up the pieces, tossed them out, and helped their neighbors out. One experience that I've had recently with the Robert Noriega Estates, the mobile home park, is that I met with the residents on Wednesday of last week, and these are really nice people. They didn't really know each other, just like many of us don't know our neighbors, unfortunately, right? But they came together through their local leadership. They had a leader there amongst them, and they invited us, and I was grateful to attend. They had other people present there from different agencies, but they came together. I offered the city's assistance as much as I could. The county did as well, and they were very, very pleased with the assistance they received from the local assistance center here at the teen center, and they were really grateful. They weren't looking for handouts. They were looking for assistance only because they really did need it. I mean, all of their possessions were inside of these mobile units are inside of these mobile units. So you can imagine, all the clothes that they have, all of the food, their beds, everything is there. And so I think they quickly realized that their situation became very complicated. they went in initially, they were out of their homes that first day, went and stayed with some neighbors, and some of them stayed with family members. But if you've ever stayed with family or friends, you know that your welcome is short-lived, right? And so that's how they felt. And thankfully, the Red Cross was there to assist in having shelter for them, but they're still without a place to stay, many of them. In fact, they didn't have any food to eat. And so I'm happy to see that there are agencies out there, not just the city, but other agencies that can provide assistance when needed, whether it's food, because you think about it, even something as simple as a toothbrush and soap. Like, if it's not there, and you have no place to shower, like, what do you do at that point? And so, unfortunately, these people had to go through that experience, and they're still going through it. They got hotel vouchers, and they're staying in hotels, but it's going to be months before they're able to get their problems corrected. And so I was very happy to see, and I'm proud to be mayor at the time. I know we've had a lot of positive things happen this year, and some things that aren't as good, obviously, but I'm proud to see that we're doing what we should be doing as a city. And so I'm proud of staff. I'm proud of this council for acting quickly on items too. And, I had a lot of interviews from national media and things like that, and they wanted to see what the feeling was out here, not just the earthquakes themselves, how we felt about them, but how people felt and what their thoughts were. And so, I did get to see the human element of the destruction end of it, right? And so thankfully, a lot of the damage around the city was cosmetic, but there was certainly some structural damage to these units, and their families are displaced. But the human side of it is really special to see, and I wish those residents well, and I'm glad that the city of Brawley and its residents, Ryan mentioned it earlier, that they brush it off and we just kind of move forward, and it's really, really special to see that. I'm not a firefighter. I know Ryan has had that experience, and I'm not a police officer, and so I don't see those events firsthand all the time. And really being mayor and seeing that and talking to people, it's something special to see that people can come together and help each other out. So again, thanks to everybody. I know that was long, but it meant a lot to see everybody working together to me. So congratulations to all of you, and I commend you for your efforts. Our next report is our treasurer's report.
I have nothing, Mr. Mayor.
Nothing to report at this time. Thank you. Our next report is our city manager's report.
Hopefully, I don't. The staff knows how much I appreciate all their efforts over the last week, and I don't have to come to a public meeting to state it. But there were some pretty amazing efforts, and I have to say, folks who love their job do their job well, and we have a lot of really committed people, and they work well with others too, which is pretty great to see. There is an item that I have shared with the council previously. In July, I provided you with an update regarding the palm tree removal along the north side of Main Street. Staff has had an opportunity to do some preparation for a public meeting that will occur this Thursday at 9:30 a.m. It'll take place at our Public Works conference room. The intention is to get ideas from local stakeholders and affected property owners on replacement trees or shrubs that would be appropriate for the 22 palms that are in the process of being removed. I have received a request from IID to issue a joint press statement. I will be working with Marion Champion to do that, and if you have any questions, staff is certainly available to assist. And that's all I have to report.
Bring me a shrubbery.
Our next report. Thank you. Our next report is our city attorney's report.
Nobody got that?
Yeah.
Check it. Got it.
There you go. Thank you. Our city attorney's report.
Mr. Mayor and Council, if you recall, at a recent meeting, staff gave an update on the various state of code enforcement and receivership properties. This is one of them. After that meeting, I completed preparation of the pleadings. One of the things that needs to happen, though, is those pleadings need to get served on everybody with an interest in the property. And so I contacted title company and I'm waiting title reports on all those properties so we make sure everybody gets served. The law is very specific about that because obviously anybody that does have an interest, their rights will be substantially affected by virtue of what the receiver will do and the interest that the receiver will accrue as a consequence of that work. So it's been some time since I made that request, so I expect to get those title reports shortly, and we'll get the pleadings filed, including this particular one here on A Street.
Thank you. Any update from our city clerk?
No.
Okay, thank you. We're going to take a short break, then we're going to come back in closed session. I just want to thank everybody for attending. Thank you.